Hi, I'm Marilyn, and I want to welcome you today to Exposing Grief. When we expose anything, it becomes less threatening. To expose loss and grief will provide us with some emotional control. In 2020, we laid the foundation for these conversations. Over 12 episodes, we explained how loss and grief can and does occur at any age or any stage in life. You can go back and listen to those foundational podcast episodes, or you can begin listening today as part of your journey to become more emotionally and mentally healthy. This journey is personal. You cannot force or coerce anyone to be more healthy, whether physically or mentally. The person has to be willing to do all the hard work in order to be successful. You can, however, encourage them in their goal towards success. When loss and grief happen in a family, everyone is affected, from the oldest person to the youngest child. As a parent, you are overwhelmed with your grief, yet you know somewhere in your heart that your child or children are also suffering or grieving in ways they may not be able to articulate. What is a parent to do? First, realize you and your family are not the first family to have suffered grief. Second, realize that neither you nor anyone has all the answers. Also know that just as you yourself go through different stages of grief, your child will also go through different phases. Know that your child's stages of grief may or may not mimic your own. Each child is an individual and will process the pain of grieving according to their personality. As a parent, you will be unable to control your child's grief. Accept that their responses are natural. Your only goal is to not allow your child or children's responses to become destructive to themselves or to others. Children do act out, and it is important that they learn to act out in appropriate ways as opposed to inappropriate ways. Don't be afraid to talk to your child, even explaining that you hurt as well, but you are able to talk with them at any time about the hurt, pain, or anger they may feel. It is also okay to explain the stages of grief to your child. Your child may not understand every word of what you say, but they will get the sense that grief is a natural process of life, which may be encountered as part of being alive. Once your child is aware that they can talk or cry openly, then they begin to feel more secure in sharing how they feel. Certainly, if you feel your child is not doing well, then professional group sessions can be invaluable. Your child can see how other children process their grief, and this can help them as well. Even though it is important that you don't set your own grief aside, you want to find ways to incorporate the grief of your children as you all move through dealing with the sense of loss and grief. Family counseling is another good option. Will this be an easy process? It will not be, but it is a necessary process. Maybe you have been someone who has not dealt well with grief in the past. As a parent, our children look at us to determine how to handle any situation. When grief is involved, we want to be honest and open with our children so they understand there is no right or wrong way to grieve, but each person has to find their own way with the information and knowledge they get as the process plays out in their emotions. Some days will be easier and other days will be more difficult. Explain to your child that this is how grief works. The emotions may come in waves or they may come steadily. Explain also that talking about how we feel can help a lot. For older children, you can suggest they journal or write letters. For younger children, you may suggest that they draw pictures of how they feel. It will take time for the new family dynamics and routines to be established, but they will emerge. It is best not to force things, but you can gently guide your children to the other side of their hurt, pain, and fears. These conversations about loss, grief, and emotional well-being are necessary and perhaps well overdue. Be a part of these important conversations. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to visit with you next time on Exposing Grief.